It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and we have a new summit. This one is called Solar Eclipse. So this is my Solar Eclipse summit guide. Let's go. All right, before we get into it, huge shout out to Simji once again. We do these summits together and he helps me find all of the best lines and the best cuts and all that stuff. So please go check out his channel and subscribe. He's one of the best drivers in the game. There's a link in the description. All right, let's get into the cars first. Your summit bundle will include the Chrysler 300 SRT8 in Street 2, the Ford GT in Racing, and the Pagani Zonda F in Hypercar. You're gonna need all three of those cars. They are required for certain events. Additional vehicles that I will recommend is for the Bullseye, you're gonna need a plane and a boat, and preferably you're gonna have Scorebreaker with Pure and Skilled as your affixes. You're gonna need a drag vehicle for the Speed Trap, and again, I recommend Nitro Chemist with Pure and Frenetic on that one. Not extra pump for the drag vehicles, you want Frenetic. You're also going to need a modern Street 2 car for this one. Everyone is using the Hurricane. It is the fastest car for this particular event with the modifier. And you're going to need an American racing car. 100% it's the Camaro SS. Going to be the fastest American racing car. You're also going to need a hypercar, and I prefer the Cento Dieci for this one. All right, the keys to this summit are NOS management and shortcuts. And when I say NOS management, we have a modifier this week. We have basically unlimited NOS. It just refills right away as soon as you let off the NOS. So you can just hold it down, then let it off and hold it down again. It just instantly refills. Basically unlimited NOS. So when I say NOS management, it means you need to pay attention to what's coming up on the track. It is very easy to overuse this NOS because you're trying to get the fastest speed possible. You're going to go into corners way too hot, and you're going to have to reset your car a bunch. You're going to have to reset your races a bunch. So just manage the NOS smartly. You really need to pay attention to the corners. Anyways, the shortcuts are really important, as well as you're going to have to drift a little bit in this summit, and that's made possible because of that NOS modifier. All right, let's get into the pro settings for all the cars that I just mentioned. All right, the first event is called Total Eclipse, and for this one, you're going to use the Hurricane. The unlimited NOS really does change a few things with regards to your lines on this course. It opens up various new cuts, so while this track is super familiar to me, I had to sort of relearn it with the NOS. Anyways, I'm going to play my full run for you guys because there are way too many things that I need to point out, so just try your best to imitate my lines, my drifts, and my NOS usage. Enjoy. All right, the next event is called Black and White, and for this one you're using the Camaro SS. In this race there are 3 very important things to pay attention to. At 17% you're going to need to slow down and cut the grass over here. At 34% you're going to veer to the right just a little bit and get a wider angle on this cut. Then you'll cut across the dirt and go to the left of the checkpoint flag. You can actually miss that flag by quite a bit. Tip for control in the dirt is to make sure you do not let off the gas. If you feel like you're going too fast or you're not going to make that turn, use your brake, but don't let off the gas. If you do, you're going to spin. At 39%, right after that cut, you're going to want to go straight across the dirt with full NOS and meet up on the road on the other side. Remember, the more you turn and NOS in the dirt, the more chance you have of spinning. So just be careful of that and don't overuse the NOS on these corners that are coming up. There's a couple of corners in this race that you have to slow down for. Just do that, get back on the throttle and the NOS, you'll be okay. All right, the next event is called Ring of Light, and for this one I'm using the 110. This might be the most fun I've had during a summit in a long time. There are so many little cuts and drifts throughout this entire race, and it really just doesn't make sense for me to point every single percentage out. So here is my full run, and just know I'm having a blast with this race. All right, the next event is called Day and Night, and for this one you're going to be using the Chrysler 300 SRT8. Once again, you're going to need to be using drifting as a tool for this race since you have a bunch of NOS and this car handles like garbage. I'll show you my full run because I think it's the best way to deliver all of the information you need for this particular race. Enjoy. All right, the next event is called the alignment, and for this one you're using the Ford GT. This one has tons of resets and cuts. Also, the first couple of corners seem to be a little bit faster if you drift them. At 17%, you're going to cut to the left and reset at the checkpoint. At 32%, you're going to cut up the hill and to the left and then reset at the checkpoint. Then you're going to do the exact same thing at 39%, at 45%, and at 49%. At 69%, you're going to cut across the grass and reset at the checkpoint. Then finally at 74%, just after the bridge, you can cut the grass to the left as well. Then just make sure you control your speed on the ensuing right-hander on the hill. All right, the last event is called Solar Prominence, and for this one we're using the Pagani Zonda F. This is hands down the most frustrating race I have ever done in a summit. The car and track combo just really doesn't match. There are several spots that are basically unavoidable clipping spots where the car just comes to a complete dead stop. With that in mind, I'll actually show you my full run because there are several spots where drifting is actually faster. Just keep in mind, I did not do this perfect. There is plenty of room for faster time, but try to imitate exactly what I'm doing and enjoy this run knowing that I was literally yelling at my monitor and throwing a fit like a child. All right, let's take a look at the feats. For the bullseye, I scored much higher by switching to a boat mid-attempt. I know some people are going to stay in a plane the whole time, but I did better by switching to a boat halfway. And in this clip, you're not seeing the most powerful boat-plane combo. Actually, what I would recommend is the P51 Mustang and the V40R. But what's absolutely necessary for this is to have score breaker parts on both your boats and your planes. You're going to want to have the skilled affix completely maxed out on every single part. That's 10% skilled for each one of your parts. And of course, don't forget your legend points as well. All right, for the first speed trap, this one is going to be a ride on the struggle bus for a lot of you. I will probably go back and get a better score later this week, but you basically just need to back up the same direction that you spawn in and send it right through the beach at the very end. I'd also recommend nosing in the top of 4th gear just before you go off-road. You want to get as much use of that air nos as possible, and don't forget to shift into 5th. There's going to be a perfect line to get through that off-road cut, so don't forget you can rewind if you mess up, and that should save you from having to restart again from a dead stop. All right, speed trap number 2. This one is basically the same strategy. The road curves a little bit, so you're going to want to head directly for the speed trap when you get close to it. Again, make sure that you're nosing at the top of 4th gear, and don't forget to shift to 5th. All right, here are my final scores. Make sure you DM me with any questions. I read every single message. That is a genuine offer to anybody that needs help with this summit or any of the videos on my channel. you can send me a direct message on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord, and I will read it and get back to you. I can't promise how fast I'll get back to you, but I will get back to you. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.